Hello and welcome to another episode of Not Too Deep. I'm your host, Grace Helbig. Very excited for this upcoming interview for you to listen to it. It was totally full of joy. Today we have ZARNA GARG with us. You might know her as a comedian, a TikToker, a mother, a screenwriter. She does it all. Her story is incredible. She was from India. She moved to the States as a teen. She was a stay-at-home mom raising 3 kids in New York City. With a law degree under her belt for years. And then she found comedy, and she has been forging and creating her own creative path in that world, succeeding and being hilarious the entire way. She's blown up on TikTok. Her kids have supported her. She just has an incredible story, and she has some of the best advice and perspective on the entertainment industry, on social media, on chasing your dreams. I'm still processing all of the wise words that she shared, and I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did. Not Too Deep with ZARNA GARG. Okay, ZARNA, I'm so excited to talk to you. Thank you for being here, first of all. And second of all, I want to know everything about you. Can we kind of start back in the beginning? Can you give me a little, I know you've probably told this story so many times, but can you give me a little bit of your history?
First of all, namaste, and thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And I have told the story many times, but never enough times to talk about myself.
Perfect.
I think I'm a perfect fit in the world of entertainment. I love talking about myself.
Oh, great. Then this is going to be an easy episode for me.
Absolutely. That's the plan. So I'm an Indian immigrant mom. I have 3 kids and I'm married. I have a husband and a really, really feisty mother-in-law.
I'm sure we'll hear more.
Yes. And you might even hear from her. She pops up everywhere. She's like a Marvel supervillain. She pops up everywhere. She could pop up in this window. It wouldn't shock me. Nothing shocks me anymore.
I can't wait.
So I'm a stand-up comedian in New York City and a screenwriter.
So how did we get there? Because I know that this has been quite a journey for you, and it's so fascinating to me because you truly have created your own path. And I think that is so inspiring. And so I'm curious, how did we get into comedy? How did we get into entertainment? Because I know you have a much more traditional background and education.
Right. I mean, it's a series of accidents, to be honest. Like, not a single Indian woman that I've ever thought of dreamt of being a stand-up comedian.
Wow.
Like, had my parents been alive right now, they would be crying. No doubt about it. They would be like, we didn't get the accountant. We didn't get the dentist. We didn't get the doctor. We got the funny one.
How did this happen?
What did we do wrong? They would be cursing at themselves right now. I mean,
oh my God.
You know, but this is life. Like, I've been here in America for over almost 30 years now.
Okay.
I went to college. I went to law school. I'm licensed to practice in New York City. So very traditional in that way. But for 16 years, I was a stay-at-home mom. I had 3 kids in the city, in New York City, with no help, no family around. I couldn't do it all.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't figure out how to be that person who could go to work and rush home and put the dinner on the, like, you know, you see it all in movies. I just couldn't figure out how it's done in real life. Like, that's
very relieving to hear, because I do think that it is highly glamorized in a way that makes it look effortless when it's truly not.
No. First of all, it is far from effortless. It's fueled by the drug industry. That imagery is what is keeping, you know, the major antidepressant medications in business, because every mom and every woman out there is thinking, well, she figured it out. And the truth is that none of us have figured it out. You know, because I watched the same movies that everybody else did. And I was like, how is it that, and, you know, and even when the actresses are racing to pick the kid up and put the food, they look amazing.
Yeah. They put mascara on at some point.
No, they like, somehow their hair is flowing perfect. And I can't get there even when I have a glam team. So, you know, I knew that something was off, and I really did try in the early years, but It's really hard. I mean, the bottom line is you can't have it all at the same time. That's my experience.
Yeah.
But once my little one was about to go to school full time, I was dying to make my way back into the workforce and, do something professional back again. Sure. But even then, when you have young kids, even if they're in school, the corporate life in America is very unforgiving, in my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Things very well may have changed today, although, how fast do things change? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was very complicated. And I started thinking, what can I do? Where can I position myself in a way that something that no one's doing right now in America, where the competition is a little bit lighter and I have an interest and there's a need. And, I grew up watching movies like everybody else. And I was like, why hasn't there been a really fun Indian rom-com? Somehow Indian movies in the press and in Hollywood here are very heavy and dark and they tackle, all the difficulties of being Indian or being Asian. And there's such a fun side to us that never makes it on screen. So I started tinkering in that space and really wrote a story straight out of my heart without much expectations at all.
Wow.
But that went on to win the Austin Film Festival Top Comedy Feature Award in 2019.
So you see this need, you see this kind of unfulfilled area of entertainment, and you just decide to write a story. Did you have any experience with this before?
I took a class, like not at a big university or anything, because God knows I was done paying for the degrees in America. That's a whole another scam waiting to be unraveled.
Yeah.
I spent so much money getting my law degree and all that I was like, I am not going back to school. I could not afford it. I mean, barely, But there was one place that was teaching you how to write screenplays, like a 3-month thing.
Okay.
And then literally Google, YouTube, like I just went nuts. If I want to figure something out, if you want to figure something out, you can figure it out today.
I feel like that is the theme of your entire career choices, is that you're just figuring it out as you go.
But what else do you do? You know what I mean? Like you, if you wait for somebody to tell you and teach you, you're going to die waiting. I mean, it's me, I would have just died. Who's going to take an Indian mom seriously?
Yeah.
So I just, I started poking. I took a few classes in the city, and then I'm completely self-taught.
Wow.
But storytelling is storytelling. How you can write it. And of course, in screenplay, there are technical elements and all. But the heart of it all is what's the story, and are you able to connect with the person who's reading it or hearing it?
And so was this Rearranged that you wrote? Okay.
That's right.
So you wrote Rearranged, and it won the Best Comedy Screenplay in the 2019 Austin Film Festival.
That's right.
It's incredible. So that feeling must have been wild. And validating.
So I literally knew nobody at the festival. So I got the award. I took it to my hotel room and I ordered a lunch for myself because I literally didn't have anybody to talk to.
You and I are kindred spirits. I would have done the exact same thing.
Like, I didn't know what else to do. Who am I going to talk to? I don't know anybody. But here's a message for women of color, for all of us, and for everybody who's not connected to things. I won the top prize at what I've been told is the most prestigious festival for writers, for film writers. Do you know how many agents and managers wanted to talk to me after that? 0.
Wow.
0.
Wow.
And I sat there with the thing and I was like, if I don't keep kicking down doors, this will never get made.
Yeah.
Like it is, you would think, people are much more comfortable with the known. And I was such an unknown. Like, people were very kind to me. Don't get me wrong. Everybody was sweet. Hello, how are you? Congratulations when I was in the room. But beyond that, they didn't know what to do with me.
Wow.
And I didn't know anybody in the business. So I'm sitting here thinking, I won the thing. Why hasn't anybody called me yet? Right?
Right. Yeah.
And I've learned it's not that easy. But I don't give up that easily. Ask my husband. I'm still nagging him about stuff from 2003. So I was thinking, how do I get my voice out there? How do I show the world what kind of things I want to talk about?
Yeah.
And, my children are very American. They're born and raised in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter off the cuff just said, why don't you just do stand-up comedy, Mom? You're so funny.
Really?
And I was like, what are you talking about? That makes no sense. Who's going to want to listen to me? And she's like, Mom, my friends love listening to you. Because I'm constantly yelling at all the kids about their grades and whatever. So she said to me, do stand-up comedy. And that kind of triggered the first set of like, I wonder if, there is a space there. And I kind of had to also, when you've yelled at your kids as much as I have, when they tell you to do something, you better do it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a humbling experience that they have some guidance for you.
Of course. I was like, what am I going to say to her? I'm too scared after telling her for 15 years that she shouldn't be scared.
Yeah.
Everything that I would have said to her, I had to say to myself.
Wow.
And I found an open mic and I took that first step.
Okay, so talk to me then about, because just to go from you get this success writing something and then you enter into this another unknown world of comedy. When you go to your first open mic, what is that experience like for you?
So I honestly it didn't even occur to me that stand-up comedy was a job. Like I thought people did it for fun. And I grew up watching Seinfeld and Ray Romano and these people, but I never thought that would be me.
Yeah.
They're standing there talking about like, I don't know, New York City and all its quirky stuff. And that seems so cool. And like, here I am, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I've been changing diapers for 15 years. Like, what am I going to say that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I got up there and I remember thinking, wow, white people do this? Like, this is a job, because it was an open mic and a lot of people before me had gone up and trashed the president and their jobs and their employer. Like, the thought of it is shocking to a person from India.
Yeah.
Like, it's so heavily, even though India is technically a democracy, everything is so heavily like censored. You're scared.
Wow. Yeah.
You say something that's going to trigger somebody in the audience, you're going to end up in jail. Like, wow. There's no two ways about it. So when I sat there, I was just dumbfounded that there was this whole world of people who were not afraid at all and were actually being celebrated.
Mm.
So I got up on stage not knowing even what a joke was. And the lady who was running it, the open mic, said, just talk about whatever you think is funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So I got up and I started ranting about my mother-in-law.
The very first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, something must have happened that day. She must have sent some mean text or something. And I just like started ranting and people were in splits. They were laughing so hard.
That's great.
So I got off the stage and the woman said to me, you're very funny, but you don't have jokes.
Which I guess could seem harsh, but well-intentioned.
No, she was completely right. So I went home and I did what I always do. I Googled what is a joke.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I was like, oh, so you need a setup. Oh, okay, I get it. And then I started like, literally as if I'm a nursery school kid learning ABC. I went from like level 1 to like, I started teaching myself and then going more to open mics and leaning on other comedians. They've been so welcoming to me.
Really?
The comedy community.
I was going to ask, I know the New York City, especially comedy scene, it can be very intense. I was curious about your experience there because it really does feel like you have to really put your feet on the ground and like grind and go to all of these open mics and try and get as much stage time and experience as you can. Was that difficult or did you find it exciting?
So, I'm not afraid of the grind at all. I mean, listen, we're all women. First of all, we expect it to be hard. Mm-hmm. I don't expect anything to happen easily. It's just the default setting is that I'm going to have to fight for it and work 3 times harder. Mm-hmm. I mean, right? Like you do this.
No, 100%. I feel like, it is such a default setting that I forget that sometimes I seem like a pessimist when I'm really just a realist about what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when the rejections pile up, as they do for all of us, you have to be a little more realistic. It's just what it is, even if you're the biggest optimist.
Yeah.
So I completely expected it to be difficult. And, at the stage I was at, my kids were in school. I was ready to work.
Mm-hmm.
I was ready to put in the time. I wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking for an easy way at all because I knew that I want to build something that lasts.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to learn every little nuance of how things were done and where they were done. And I'm in it now and I love it. Like I do 5, 6, 7 shows a night sometimes.
Wow. So you're really in it right now.
I'm all in.
Well, are you preparing? You have like a full hour that you're preparing, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so talk me through how do you get this material? How do you create your full hour?
So the jokes started coming easily once I understood what a joke format was, right? Once I knew, okay, what are they talking about? I got it because I had the material, right?
Yeah, it's just the formula.
Yeah, my whole life I've been saying things, but okay, there is a rhythm to how you do it.
Yeah.
It's similar in some ways to screenwriting. Once I understood, okay, got it, this is act 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start, it's a little more organized, but it's still storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
It's still interesting storytelling. So the jokes came, but then what I started doing is I started watching every other stand-up special that's out there.
Yeah.
Like, how have other people done it? Like, what is the crux of what makes their special special?
Mm-hmm.
And it started making sense to me. And I do a lot of analysis, like all comedians do.
Yeah.
We record most of our sets. I go home. I go, why did they laugh here? Who are they enjoying more?
Wow.
And started building like a flow around that. So I think in my case, people like to enjoy the happy family stories, the me yelling at my kids. I mean, it's gentle.
Those
right?
happy family stories.
Yeah, you didn't get it. 98, whatever. Stop celebrating. Where is the missing tooth?
Yeah.
So they enjoy the mother-in-law stuff. They enjoy the India-America life comparisons, like how it would have been. That was a big motivation of mine to get on stage too, by the way. It's like I watched the last few years, people in America really hard on themselves about, this country, everybody's laughing at us and we're so bad. And I felt like somebody needed to remind them that people like me give up everything to come here because it's great.
Yeah.
Even with all its problems, it's great here.
Just perspective. Yeah.
So I felt like I was in a position to offer some relief to the general American audience that was so hard on themselves. Like, how can you otherwise, as an American, say that to yourself? You can't.
Yeah.
You need that outsider to remind you.
Yeah.
And I was happy to be that outsider. I mean, living here gave me an amazing life. I felt like I could give something back at a moment that people needed it.
Wow. I mean, that's very beautiful that you have almost a humanitarian mission to make everyone feel a little bit better.
I mean, it's crazy, but I really do. Like, if you come to any of my shows, the way every show is designed, my audience here has to leave elated.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Rule. Because it's what I believe. It's what I've experienced of my life here. And I want to share it, the truth of my journey. Like, for example, winning an award like Austin Film Festival would not happen back home even for me.
Yeah.
There's no such competition. Wow. The only movies that get made are movies written by friends of existing movie makers or kids. So I have no problem acknowledging that this system has been so wonderful to me. And that's part of the whole set planning too. Like, this doesn't mean I don't poke fun at, we do weird things here.
Yeah.
And there are weird things that happened back where I came from in India too.
Yeah.
But it's all, the base of it is a lot of love.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like you bring the maternal energy with you. And sort of nurture an audience in a way, allowing them to feel okay.
I want to yell at everybody. When the clubs love to push the drinks, the 2-drink minimum.
Yeah.
I'm like, I one day will get banned from all the clubs because I'm the first one to be like, drink water. You don't need to drink alcohol. 2 drinks can be any 2 drinks. Order seltzer water, guys.
Yeah, I know. You're giving them the golden ticket to not paying $40 extra.
Yeah, and I'm such a mom that I can't help but be like, it's okay. You can get the second one can be water. Yeah.
I see. That's great. It's showing true signs of care for the people that are coming out to see you. So how are you feeling about this hour now?
I'm feeling great.
Yeah.
I'm feeling amazing. Yes. It's like, it's a lot. There are days when I get completely overwhelmed where I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I can't believe what is all happening. But
surreal.
But, most days I treat a show or a preparation as if I'm hosting a party with my friends. And then that relaxes the whole thing.
Yeah.
That I've done my whole life. My whole life, people have come to my home or I've gone to their homes and I've made them laugh or whatever.
Yeah.
I can do this. I have to say to myself. And also as a woman, once again, we tend to second guess ourselves a lot more than men do. And because I'm aware of it, I want to become a voice against it. Of course, I get scared and I get nervous, but like so many of us do, and we lose out on big opportunities.
Yeah.
And it's time to like take ownership of that flaw and like reverse it a little bit.
I mean, I'm getting inspired just sitting here talking to you, like taking notes. I'm like, do not second guess self. Zarna, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, I have to ask you all about now the flourishing TikTok side of things.
Yes, absolutely.
So we'll be right back with more Not Too Deep.
Not too deep. With Grace Helbig.
Hello, listeners. Grace Helbig here, wanting to say 2 things. A big thank you for listening to the podcast. If you're a regular listener, if this is your first time listening, welcome and thank you. And second thing, if you are enjoying yourself here in this not too deep world we've built and you'd like to leave us a review, that would be so wonderful. If you can go to the iTunes store, the App Store, and leave us a lovely little review, comment. How are you feeling? Good, bad, otherwise? Maybe just good or otherwise would be appreciated. Other than that, enjoy the podcast. Okay, Zarna, we're back in. Now, I read some interviews with you, and so I kind of know about your TikTok side of things, but how do you explain how this got going?
Again, another happy accident and having kids who work for you.
Yeah. Oh, so they officially work for you, your kids?
Well,
unofficially.
I mean, unofficially. I hesitate to say officially because then they're going to start being like, where's the paycheck?
Right. I'm like, do you have an official payroll for all of them?
Not yet, but they do eat well. So there's
There you go.
No, they do help me a lot, to be honest. And, again, I just got the comedy thing going in 2019. It was just going. I got my first show and then boom, the world shut down.
Ugh.
I was like, I really thought that the Hindu gods were against me.
Yeah, I feel like
this is crazy. We don't need her out there.
Every time you get a win, they put you back in your place.
Right. And my mother-in-law has prayed her whole life. I was like, this is her. This has to be her. I was never the praying type. So I was like, this all makes sense.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in my house thinking, it's over. Like, I don't know how I'm going to recover from an unending, what at the time we were like, we're not sure when.
Yeah.
And the clubs closed, like they closed down.
And that's your life force.
That's like, exactly. Yeah. So, and my son, my 15-year-old son, said to me, Mom, he's a TikTok addict.
Yeah.
I mean, he watches. He's just watching. He doesn't really post much yet. And he's like, I'm starting to see comedians. And, at the time when TikTok was brand new-ish to me, at least a year or 2 years ago, it felt like it was just young girls dancing.
Yes, same to me. I have still not figured it out. So I'm kind of gleaning all of your personal tips and tricks on it because it does feel very overwhelming to me.
It felt like what am I going to do there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're not 16 or 15 even, you're too old for that.
Yeah, they're going to bounce you out of the club.
Right. But he showed me. So he was like, he was trying to explain to me that I should get on, and I kept ignoring him because I was like, oh God, no, go away. I try not to listen to my kids. That's the rule. The number one rule of parenting is don't listen to your kids. Like, whatever they want, do the opposite.
Yeah.
So I was like shooing him away, and he just took a few of my jokes that I had on tape and edited them and put them on an account for me.
Wow.
And, within 3 days, I think we had 1 million views.
Wow.
And then I started thinking, is TikTok one of those weird places? Some countries, they have the currencies that start at $1 million.
Yes.
You don't really know what it's worth.
Yeah.
So maybe TikTok is one of these weird places where, like, if you just wave your hand, you get 1 million views.
Yeah. That's the base level. Yeah.
Because you don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know. But then once I started engaging with it a little bit, I realized that it is actually, honestly, TikTok is a magical place for creators.
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, it's incredible because it sounds like your children truly believe in you, which is very beautiful.
Or they're very scared of me.
Or they just want you to get a hobby and leave them alone.
I think that's more like it.
And second of all, so now it's been like over a year or so on this platform.
Yeah.
How's the experience been for you? Like, do you prefer TikTok over live performance, or is it two different things for you?
It's two different things. And I think in the world that we're in today, unfortunately or fortunately, both need to coexist.
Yeah.
I don't think you can be a live performer without having a social media following.
Very true.
And although I do think there are digital performers who never do anything live and make a killing.
Yeah.
I've heard about them. But I've never considered that path because I actually like traditional stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
So I just don't think you could do anything today without having a social media following. And TikTok is amazing to creators. It's head and shoulders above all other creators because of their magical For You page. It really does put you in front of so many different types of audiences until you find your own.
Yeah, that's very true. I haven't thought about it that way exactly.
Yeah. Because I think Instagram, for example, has an explorer page. It's just not even in the league of what TikTok does. Yeah,
I mean, TikTok is very kind of singular where you can see one video at a time versus Instagram is like, here's this magic eye of a bunch of little videos that you can look at and click on and see.
And then no video gets attention, because there are 20 things on the screen. Yeah. No one gets that kind of attention.
So now I'm curious, with your children helping you kind of initiate your TikTok, iconery, do you work with them on creative ideas on TikTok? Do they come and pitch you ideas?
All the time. And honestly, sometimes we'll have a funny moment or a moment that actually is not funny at all. But they'll be like, you know what, Mom? I bet you if you put this on TikTok, people will be interested.
That's great.
A lot of what I do is everyday mom life. Like, I don't particularly find it that interesting. It's just how we live. Yeah. But it never occurred to me that putting that out there gives other people a chance to resonate with it. For example, my best performing TikTok right now is a video of us traveling and my luggage being overstuffed. It was way over 50 pounds. Yeah. Now, have I traveled like this most of my life? Yes. Most of my life, the last minute, I need to take 5 pounds out. It's overweight, or am I going to pay the fee, or what are we going to do? Yeah. But now when a moment like that happens and my kid will be like, let's just capture Mom taking stuff out of their bag.
I feel like you're on constant surveillance now with your family of everything you do.
But honestly, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just living my life and sharing. And if other people are finding so many commonalities, and connecting with me, I'm like, fine, go do it. And literally, that's how a lot of our TikToks have generated. They're real, genuine moments.
Yeah, I'm curious about the messages that you receive or the comments that you get, or the people that are following you, or the people that order cameos from you. Like, what's that? Is the majority of it like moms that feel very connected to you? Or is it a mix?
It started out as moms and the mom community.
Mm-hmm.
And then it became the teenagers who saw their mom in me.
Yeah.
And then once my I've never said I love you videos started getting traction, it just became people from all over the world who said, we don't say it either. I mean, when I put that was one of my first jokes up there. I've never said I love you to my husband. And that's true.
Yeah.
And, I thought it was just me. I really thought that it's an Indian thing at best. But the minute that joke got on TikTok, I can't tell you, people from different cultures, cross sections all over, we don't say it either. Is it just a Hollywood thing? Is it an entertainment thing? Is it a white people thing?
Yeah.
Is it an affluent? No, I mean, now there are debates. If you go through my TikToks, there are lively debates over this, over the importance of using the word loud.
Wow.
So it kind of grew from the mom community and kind of just fanned out into all kinds of different things.
Oh, wow. It's got to be, for you at least, feeling less alone in the things that you once thought were only you. And also getting to start this kind of healthy debate between everyone, I think is the best kind of situation.
I mean, I'll tell you that I got a lot of comfort from knowing that people who've been discouraged, especially, I get a lot of singles too, by the way. I have no idea why. I'm not a matchmaker, but a ton of single people, when I do lives, singles pop up. Hey, auntie, do you match make? Why am I not able to find a girl or a guy or whatever?
Wow.
I'll tell you that the one thing that I feel blessed about is that a lot of single women in particular will say to me, thank you for telling the truth about married life.
Wow.
It's not this big romantic, because the imagery and the stories that exist in pop culture are so over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Did he buy you a rose and the ring and all this? And that stuff is just not part of our culture at all.
Mm-hmm.
We're just happy to pay our bills together. We're so happy if we can pay our bills at the end of the month and if everybody's alive and healthy.
Yeah.
It's a win.
That is romance right there.
Listen, I think so. I think I get a lot of guys that laugh about how I brought the nerdy guy back because my husband's he's just a regular, really good guy. But he's not sitting there obsessing about where he should take me for dinner and what is all that?
I know.
So I feel happy that I'm able to reassure some young couples or some single people that you don't need to have all that.
Yeah.
To have a good family life.
It is very reassuring. And you are telling the truth and you're not going out of your way to tell the truth. You're just going here.
No,
this is me.
I'm sure that everybody has in their life their moms or dads or uncles or aunts who are living very simple, basic lives. And I think that life should be celebrated.
Yeah, I agree.
Not too deep with Grace Helbig.
Okay, Zarna, I'm going to move on to ask you the two questions I ask every single guest that is on the podcast with me. The first is, who, alive or dead, would you most like to throw cold spaghetti at?
Wow, cold spaghetti at.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be honest, right? Kind of. My mother-in-law. I mean, there are a lot of wounds in here that we won't get into because that's a whole episode season.
Yeah.
But I think that the cold spaghetti would be the appropriate level of violence back for the emotional trauma that I've had to endure.
You know what? That is, I'm going to take you at your word for that. Okay. The other question I ask every single guest is to tell us your worst pants shitting story or a bathroom emergency situation, but you can only use 3 words or small phrases to describe the situation. So, for example, my story is college, jogging, front lawn.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
It's quite a question.
So the listener is connecting.
They get
dots.
to create their own imagery in their heads.
Okay. So I have one. It's right. It's like right there because it's real.
Great.
So staining due to a very heavy period.
Okay. Yep.
About to go on stage.
Oh no.
And lights all around me.
Oh God. Yeah. That one hits me in my gut. That one paints a picture for everyone. Yeah. Okay, now we're going to move on to a section of the podcast called Deep and Hot, where I ask you a deep question that we have prepared for you. And then I'm going to ask you for your hot take on kind of like a subject matter that we have prepared for you. So the deep question is, what does it mean to be Zarna?
Zarna is a storyteller. Yeah. She's an authentic, real Indian woman storyteller.
Wow, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, with that too, I want to go back and ask you before I get into the hot take about Auntie Z.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, it's just, I've become some sort of general community auntie to everybody.
Yeah.
Look, the people who reach out to me, the young ones, the singles, the young people, the teens, I'm not their mom. I'm not their,
Yeah.
But in Indian culture, pretty much everybody who's not your mom or your brother or sister is your auntie or uncle.
Okay.
So it's very common to refer to somebody slightly older than you as an auntie or uncle.
I see. And you also have a show concept that you're kind of creating around this.
Yes.
And you're pitching it, you're developing it?
So it's actually in negotiation right now. It's already past the stage of pitching.
Oh, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
We're sending good energy, positive energy, manifesting all of the good stuff for it. I think the world needs it and wants it right now.
There's a lot of people waiting to be yelled at.
Yeah, it's true. In a sweet, nurturing way.
Yeah.
Okay, with that, this kind of goes in line. I'm curious about your hot take, and you've already sort of talked about this, or any like tips that you have or pieces of advice, wisdom, if you will, on creating your own path or forging your own path. Because I feel like you've become almost an expert at this. And I know it's unique to every individual, but I'm curious if you have any advice on it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what gives me courage, because I get scared just like everybody else, right? Forging your own path by definition is scary because it's untested. There's no roadmap. I had a moment of one day before stand-up, I was like, what am I doing? I had a moment. And then I realized, I'm like, if I want to do something, I'm going to have to figure it out. Nobody on earth can figure it out for me.
Yeah.
Even with the best intentions, nobody can step in and say, here, let me hold your hand and show you the best way to do it. And you will for sure get rave reviews and you will succeed. That is just not how life works. So once I had this deep realization that it's all on me, I just went for it. And the other thing that has given me a huge amount of relief, and I think all your listeners can take comfort from, we live in a self-obsessed generation and time.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Very much
People
so.
People are very obsessed with their own images and the beauty plus and the upload and the download of their own life. There's something extremely liberating about it for a creator. Whatever I create is just not big enough on anybody's spectrum to last more than a second.
Yeah.
You could kill somebody and people are going to forget in a minute.
Yeah, that's very true.
So as a creator, it's a way to take the pressure off of you. You're just one speck. And the upside of it is so big. Let's say you are good.
Yeah.
And you're able to make somebody laugh or cry or feel with whatever it is that you're creating. You put something so good out into the world. that may positively affect. So the downside is so small. Let's say you fail spectacularly.
Yeah.
That show that, the event that you talked about, the 3-part, the bleeding, that actually really happened, right? But who remembers it? No one.
Yeah.
Life went on, everything went on. And I think we should all take comfort from the fact that this self-obsessed generation is so busy finally filtering their own photos that they don't have time to pick on you.
Wow. That's my mind's a bit blown right now, and I'll have to continue to process that throughout the day, because I think that's such a wonderful perspective on that, because I think people can get so overwhelmed by feeling like they have nothing to contribute to such an oversaturated environment online. What could they possibly, how they have to make the best possible thing to stand out, and that's not necessarily a healthy way to view that.
Not at all. And in fact, to respond to the don't have anything to contribute, I offer to my followers all the time, because I get that too. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. If you do nothing, if you create nothing, you make nothing, the easiest way to add a positive contribution to our world right now is to just go on other people's pages who you like and give them positive reinforcement.
Oh, that's great.
I tell my followers, I'm like, sprinkle positivity like confetti. What does it cost you? Nothing.
Yeah.
And the more you put it out there, trust and believe that the more will come back to you.
Wow. Well, I feel like you need to write some sort of life coaching manual as well, along with all your other projects going on. Zarna, this has been so lovely. We're towards the end of the podcast, but before we wrap up completely, we like to give our guests a little token of our appreciation, and that is a personalized horoscope from us to you. We are not astrologists by any means. Melissa put it in the chat if you're able to access that, and if you would like to read it aloud to the class.
Yeah. So it says it's for Pisces, I think, right?
Yes.
Okay. So should I just read it out?
Yes.
Dear Pisces, fish of the stars, you'll feel pressure when Mars and your ruling planet Neptune connect this month to have a real plan for your dream goals by the 11th. But you'll have to choose between the rest of your kids getting into Ivy schools and 6 seasons of Auntie Z. Just kidding. You can have it all.
There it is.
Thank you.
Of course. Now, this has been so lovely. Thank you so much for your time and your wisdom, more importantly. Where can people find you online? Where can they come see you live if they don't know?
They can find me at ZARNAGARG.com, at ZARNA GARG on all major platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. And I have a show schedule that's posted on my website.
Okay.
So at ZARNAGARG.com/shows, you can see all my upcoming shows. I have a big show coming up at Caroline's on Broadway on February 4th, where I'm headlining. I'm running my full hour for 2 shows. And I'm going to be at the Kennedy Center on March 18th and 19th, opening for Persian American comedian Maz Jobrani.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I'm going to be there. So we have a lot going on. I'm going to be in Las Vegas in February for a week.
You're all over the place.
I'm all over the place because I got to find every location I can to trash my mother-in-law.
You got to spread it far and wide. Well, thank you so much, Zarna. This has been such a delight. And go check out everything she's up to. You'll find her somewhere. She's in all the nooks and crannies of the internet and the real world. And we'll see you guys next time on another episode of Not Too Deep. Goodbye.
Too deep, too deep, too deep, not too deep with Grace Helbig.
Not Too Deep is a production of Grace Helbig Incorporated, producer Melissa D. Montz, edited by Shireen Lani Yunus, post-production sound by Chris Henry, and an extra special thanks to Flula for the theme music.